So guys, it looks like SOFI is showing some absolutely terrible signs. I mean, this very well could be the indication of a much larger demise for the stock, or at least that's what the narrative would have you think about SOFI stock. So let's talk about what these signs are and get you guys the truth on all of it. Just make sure you like the video if you like getting the truth out the hype, because that's exactly what you're going to get today. So we have some directors at SOFI selling some large amounts of stock, and it's absolutely creating some angst amongst the retail crowd out there. What's going on? Is this a sign of, the stock going lower or pending bad earnings or whatever the case is? So let's kind of get into all that specifically and talk through all the different details. Now, we obviously have to have the details first about the sale. So let me throw it up there on the screen there and let me read it for you off here real fast. Director Magdalene Yesil, and I apologize in advance. I know I didn't get that right. I have no clue how to pronounce that name. Sold 87,140 shares of the firm stock in a transaction that occurred on Tuesday, June 10th. The shares were sold at an average price of $14.39 for a total value of $1.2 million and some change. Following the transaction, the director now directly owns 289,258 shares of the company's stock valued at approximately $4.1 million and some change. This trade represents a 23% decrease in their ownership of the stock. The sale was disclosed in a legal filing with the SEC, which can be assessed through the SEC website. Also, because of course there has to be more, Director Magdalene, however the heck you pronounce that last name, Yesil, sold 87,140 shares of the firm stock in a transaction that occurred on Thursday, June 5th. The shares were sold at an average price of $13.95 for a total transaction of $1.2 million and some change. Following the completion of the transaction, the director now directly owns 376,398 shares in the company, valued at approximately $5.2 million. The trade was an 18.8% decrease in the ownership of the stock. All right, so there it was. There was the details of the latest director, latest executive selling out of SOFI stock. So the question becomes, is this a sign of bad things coming because an insider is selling out of the stock? And it's not the first time this happened ever, guys. Just like we said that before. It seems to happen a lot. So we got to answer the question, is this a sign of problems or not? So to address this appropriately, let's look at the following 4 points that we're going to kind of go through each one of them. But number 3 and number 4 being the biggest points, guys. They are critical. You want to argue with me about the first two? Fine. But the last two, there's no argument. There's no discussion here. They are critical to this discussion. And this isn't one of those 4 points, but the summer savings sale where you can lock in your sale price for life as long as you say a member is happening for my group, where you get coaching, you get 5 courses, you get direct access to me, you get access to our live events, and so much more. I'll give you the full details at the end, but it's a pinned comment for those of you guys out there that are interested. When it expires, that price goes back up and you no longer can lock in that lower price. Okay, so let's jump into the 4 points, with the first point being, why not sell a bigger chunk or all of the stock? So if there's a problem with any company that you own, right? There's a fundamental change, there's a problem happening, whatever the case is, in a lot of cases, it can actually be prudent to get completely out of that stock, right? Or at least sell more of the stock, take more of that risk off the table. So if there is an actual massive problem going on over there at SOFI, why did this director not just dump all their shares at that particular stage? I mean, they obviously have a lot more insight than you and I have as retail investors. At least that's what we think. So why would that individual not sell more? So sometimes whenever I hear that narrative going around that there's a problem and they're getting out, well, the first thing I can do is look at the actual company, look at how many shares they own and go, why didn't they dump it all then, right? I mean, seriously, if you're looking at your business and you know it's about to go under because you got problems and it's got massive problems and you're going to see massive, if you have shares out there in a public, publicly traded exchange and hey, whenever these earnings come out, this stock price is going to crater. Why the heck would you not just go ahead and sell a lot more of the stock? So obviously without that context, to me, this is kind of inconclusive. This doesn't really mean a whole heck of a lot unless I saw every share being sold. Then at that stage, that may very well perk my interest. But I can't say there's a massive problem if that person isn't selling all their shares, or at least the vast majority of their shares at that particular stage. So next up, why did more executives not sell? This kind of goes right along with that first point there. If it's that bad and something's really going on with those earnings and we really have problems, why did nobody else sell those shares in that same time frame? Why not all of them sell all of their shares at that particular time, at that particular stage, right? If they're able to see everything, they know what's going on. Why are they not all selling their shares? Why is just this one individual selling shares? If somebody can't explain that to you whenever they're talking about this is a problem, this is what's going on, this is what this signals, whatever the case is, well, they're really just guessing or just making stuff up because you don't really have accurate information. And if that information was true, why the heck did more of them not dump the stock as well? I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. These are very, very smart people on these boards and on these executive teams, and yet they're not doing that. So that clearly tells me there's something else going on there altogether, and we got to get down to the bottom of that. So maybe number 3 and number 4 clear this up because they're absolutely the critical points. So let's jump into number 3 next. That would be 3 things get you sent to jail on Wall Street. All right, guys, here's the bottom line with Wall Street and everything that goes on out there on Wall Street. There's a lot of ridiculous things. There's a lot of immoral things. There's a lot of things that are unethical that go on all over Wall Street and virtually every publicly traded company. I always find it kind of funny whenever people try to play I wouldn't own that stock because that CEO, he's just not really my kind of guy, or I think he's shady, or, I think he has this or he has that, or whatever the case is. Choosing the moral high ground typically with companies is not a good idea because they all have skeletons in the closet. They all have done things in the past, will do things in the future that for a lot of us would not be considered ethical. It is very, very hard to draw that line in the sand in regards to that. However, we're talking about investing. And when we're talking about investing, those things don't get you sent to jail. Regardless of whether we think it's right or wrong, obviously, you obviously want to have a moral high ground, right? You want to have moral standards and ethics and everything else, but those things don't get you sent to jail. But cheating on your taxes gets you sent to jail on Wall Street. Cooking the books sends you to jail on Wall Street. And insider trading sends you to jail on Wall Street. Those are the only 3 things. You can get away with anything else. But if you do those 3, you are going to jail, my friend. Those are facts. The laws are slanted that way. It is very easy for them to prosecute. It is not like this, oh, you're guilty until proven innocent, and then go to the lawyers and go through all this other ridiculousness that the whole rest of our legal system goes through. That is not the case whenever it comes to things like this, and specifically insider trading. It does not take a whole heck of a lot to prove that happened. It does not take a whole heck of a lot for them to get a conviction and actually send somebody to jail. They sent Martha Stewart to jail. Think about that for a second, guys. That is how crazy it is. There are lots of things you can do that are questionable or that honestly should be illegal but aren't. However, insider selling is not one of those things, and it's so easy to prove, and it doesn't take much to get a conviction like we just said. It's one of the very few corporate legal crimes that actually has teeth, and everyone knows it's one of the cardinal 3 you can't get away with. There's lots of other ways to cheat and get away with all kinds of nefarious things, but it's not insider selling. In the world of finance, you are literally just stupid to do it. I'm sorry, that's the bottom line with it. It's like criminals who break into a bank to steal an ATM machine, and then his getaway vehicle with that ATM machine on his back is a bike. I mean, it's just dumb. The way the process works is executives put it on a 10B form, and that form has the schedule with a predetermined time or price to buy or sell a stock at. When that time or price hits and all that other good stuff happens, the stock is sold. There are blackout periods where they cannot buy or sell during that time. And the main purpose, and all of that is to eliminate any perception of insider trading. These things go through teams and teams and teams of lawyers before they're ever actually executed on a sale. It's not like they get a text message from, Anthony, Noto, and he's like, oh, hey, I'm not going to look good this quarter. And then they're all jumping on their app and selling the stock. That is not how it works at all. Anybody thinking that or thinking that it gives any sort of an indication of what the future is for SOFI stock has zero clue as to how it works. Also keep in mind, all the executives all hold options that they have to execute by a specific date. So they sell ahead of that date. And a lot of times those, things were given years ago, those options, and now they have to execute on them. Sometimes these guys sell for taxes or to buy a house or to buy a boat or for a lot of other reasons like that. Some executives honestly don't even take salaries and then sell periodically to pay bills or, purchase Twitter, for example, like Elon did, right? That went through teams and teams and teams of lawyers before that ever happens. All the forms are filed. All these things are thought through, presented, gone through a ton of lawyers and everybody else before they're ever executed on. Again, it is the easiest corporate crime to prosecute, bar none. It is so easy to do. Now, I'm not saying it will never happen. I'm not saying it's never happened in the past because there's dumb people everywhere, right? But it rarely happens. And our final point shows you exactly why you must ignore it, even if you want to believe that they truly have some sort of inside information, they're truly trading on that or whatever the case is. Well, then you need to pay attention to number 4, which is it might be the worst indicator ever. So let me prove this to you guys with facts, okay? Insiders were selling this stock right here when it was at $5 or $6 or so. And guess what? They basically missed out on a double up, and you guys missed out on a double up if you used insider selling as an indicator that the stock was going down instead of going up. And same thing, insiders were selling Palantir before the epic run. And you missed that if you cared about Alex selling shares of his stock ahead of that massive run. That's how ridiculous these things are and how bad and how poor of an indicator they are. Trust me, insiders were selling every great stock their entire run for every single incredible run in any stock ever. Apple gave me personally, just me personally, a 50,000+% return, and insiders sold every single year of that run. That is 55,000%, guys. NVIDIA, hey, it's on a 100,000% return run right now. Not a 10x, not a 100x, but a 100,000% return, and insiders were selling the entire time. It is literally the worst indicator of anything ever. So please, when you see this sort of stuff, or you see this sort of narrative kick up, or you see an article and then people go on CNBC saying this could signal a problem, or YouTube video goes out there saying that sort of thing, you have to ignore that. It is simply not true. And if you want to learn how to deep dive a stock so that way you don't get tripped up by narratives like that, and you want to see all my buy and sell alerts in real time, see my complete watch list with price targets, get your free coaching, get the free courses, make sure you take advantage of the sale that's going on right now, guys, where you get to keep that price for life. Make sure you check it out. It's the pinned comment down there. See if a membership's right for you before that price goes up. And click this video here if you want to see exactly what I'm buying in this market. And click here to see my exact plan for this market. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.